All right, guys, welcome back to my channel. My candle just died. Literally just ran out as I started the stream. That's really annoying. Anyway, we'll go with some light today. So, I want to talk today about the Parkland shooting, as well as January 6th clown show, because it looks like they're going to subpoena Trump. No surprise there, they unanimously voted to subpoena Trump. And if Trump actually takes the stand, I don't think he will, but if he does, that is going to be some of the best TV in a long time. Trump is going to destroy their narrative. Just absolutely, he's going to eviscerate them. It's going to be incredible to watch. So I really hope he does take the stand. I don't think he will, though, because, of course, they'll find a way to twist his words, take it out of context, like they've done to him for already 5.5, 6 years. So I wanted to first start off today by watching the Parkland shooting, scumbag getting sentenced. Now, just a teaser for you guys, he did not get the death penalty, which a lot of people are shocked about. You know, he killed 17 people that day. And if there is a crime worthy of the death penalty, I think it would be killing unarmed students, your fellow classmates, in a shooting. But I just want to give my opinion on the death penalty before we get into this. I personally am anti-death penalty because I feel like that's the only consistent stance to be with pro-life. If you are against the abortion of babies, then you should theoretically also be against the killing of other humans, even if these are the most disgusting humans in the world. I know there's going to be a mixed crowd here in regard to the death penalty. I know Trump, for example, is very pro-death penalty. He wants to give the death penalty to drug dealers, which I always kind of like wince at, because some people that are drug dealers, some of them, it's kind of like they're forced to that life because, you know, they're just forced to that life. Now, obviously, I do believe people have willpower and they're in control of their actions, and actions have consequences. But to me, there's a difference between like a rapist, a murderer, a child molester, and a drug dealer. I just feel like there's levels to this stuff, and they're all bad, obviously, but there's kind of levels. And then I think about, like, what kind of drugs were they dealing? Was it marijuana? Because that's of the earth. I personally think it should be totally legalized on a federal level, but that's my perspective. Mushrooms. I've never tried mushrooms. I feel like that should be also, it's of the earth. If somebody wants to have, in my opinion, if they want to have a little weed plant in their house or a little mushroom plant in their house, whatever, they should be allowed because it's of the earth and we are free people. Once you're 18 plus and you're an adult, as long as what you're doing is not hurting anybody else and it's consensual and it's to adults, it's like, that's the libertarian view on it. Like, that's what you want to do it. So I don't know about death penalty for drug dealers. I really am comfortable with death penalty, period, for all crimes. But what I would be pro would be putting criminals, bad people, not drug dealers, but the violent drug offenders, dropping them all onto an island with scheduled food drops and no Wi-Fi, no internet. They got books, they got little huts for houses, little shacks, whatever you want to do. And we just leave them all on an island. No way off the island. If they try to get off the island, there could even be like things in the ocean that can just like take them out or something. But they can all live on a little island together. The killers, the murderers, the rapists, the child molesters, just drop them all on an island far away and just do food drops. And if you want to monetize it, stream it on the internet. Do like those movies where it's like Survivor to the end, and then the person who wins gets $1 billion, but they have to stay on the island, so they'll be rich, but on their little island forever. You know, that's just my perspective. Like even fentanyl. By the way, guys, I was given fentanyl on my surgery a few weeks ago when I had the catheter to put into my stomach. They gave me some very low grade fentanyl to kind of like. I went on when the doctor told me it was gonna be fentanyl. I was like, whoa, taken aback. But then when I went online to read it, it actually makes the anesthesia work better. So it can actually enhance the effects of the local anesthetic. So that's what they do. They give you local anesthetic combined with a little bit of fentanyl under, of course, doctor's supervision, and it helps you with the pain management. So again, it's tough, right? Because like if you're putting fentanyl and people don't know they're getting it, that to me would be kind of like an assault, right? Like if I'm trying to buy marijuana and you give me laced marijuana with fentanyl and then I die or get severely injured, that to me is a very, very bad crime. But if I'm like, if I want fentanyl and you're a drug dealer that gives you fentanyl, it's not really a violent crime. You're both adults, let's say, of age. I mean, you should still get in trouble for that, so go to jail. But death penalty, I don't know. Anyway, let's watch this Parkland shooting. There is a 17-minute version, which I think is pretty interesting. I only watched the first 5 minutes, but we're going to watch the full thing here together. I'll pause it along the way if I have any meaningful or unmeaningful thoughts. And then after that, we'll just go to the January 6th stuff because I think both of these topics are very interesting today. All right, let's make this big. Let's get this in theater mode. And here we go.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. The jurors are present. The witness is present. Mr. Sachs, when you're ready, you may continue.
Okay, thanks.
For the record, this judge is very attractive. Just want to throw that out there.
I want to play State's Exhibits 473.
Okay, you may.
Thank you.
Today is the day that it all begins. The day of my massacre shall begin. All the kids in school will run in fear and hide. From the wrath of my power, they will. I am. I am nothing. I am no one. My life is nothing and meaningless. Everything that I hold dear, I let go beyond your half. Every day, I see the world ending another day. I live a lone life, live in seclusion and solitude. I hate everyone and everything. With the power of my AR, you will all know who I am. I had enough of being told what to do and when to do. I had enough of being telling me that I'm an idiot and a dumbass. But in real life, you're all the dumbass. You're all stupid and brainwashed by these fucking political government programs. You will all see, you will all know who my name is. My love for you, Angie, will never go away. I hope to see you in the afterlife. And one day or another, you will end and we'll all die.
So, like, you obviously heard what he said, where he just feels like his life has no meaning. He's very angry. He felt isolated. It's like, I just don't get why you just don't. And again, I'm very anti-suicide. I'm anti anyone dying. But my point is like, if you feel this way, just take yourself out of the equation and not innocent people that have nothing to do with you. Why inflict so much pain and damage? Not just to the people that you killed, but to all their family members and all of their friends. And I mean, every parent of a student across the country was affected by this because you never know if it's going to be your kid in school that is going to have to face a mass school shooter. So I just don't get why these people decide to do this against completely unarmed classmates. It's disgusting. You know, you want to do something, go against, like, take yourself out. Number one, don't do this to other people. But like, go against an equal threat. I don't know how you could do that. Go sign up for a war. Go join the army and then like go overseas. Volunteer to go overseas into a war. You know, if anything, where it's like you can do something with a purpose and help the country if you have this like instinct in you, right there. That's what people do in war. They have these teams that like, this is what they do. And again, I'm anti-war. I'm anti-violence. I'm anti-murder. I'm anti all this stuff. But I'm just like saying, like, Why do this to innocent school kids? Same as Uvalde, same as the Buffalo shooters. These people, same as New Zealand. I think it was Christchurch. All these people, it's just like, yo, you're so angry at the world. Why hurt and cause more pain? Why is that your legacy? Like, you're not a winner in this. You're not a winner. It's disgusting.
All right, so here's the plan. I'm gonna go take an Uber in the afternoon before 2:40. From there, I'll go into the school campus, walk up the stairs, unload my bags, and get my AR and shoot people down at the main courtyard. I'll wait, and people will die. Hello, my name is Nick, and I'm going to be the next school shooter of 2018. My goal is at least 20 people with an AR-15 and a couple tracer rounds. I think I can get it done. Location is Stone Douglas in Parkland, Florida. It's going to be a big event. And when you see me on the news, you'll all know who I am. You're all going to die. Pew, 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 pew. Yeah. Can't wait.
Okay, Doctor, how did those videos help you in your diagnosis?
Yeah, there are points kind of from all three videos, and I'll mention some of the key points. He clearly knew what weapon he was going to use and what he intended to do with that weapon. And that weapon is mentioned, the AR-15, in the videos. The videos were made in the days prior to the crime, not even on the morning of the crime. So there has been a good bit of time for reflection.
So I just realized I don't think this video has the actual verdict. So we're going to skip to a video that does have the verdict. But I think it is interesting to see the clips of him prior to his shooting, and sick stuff. Here we go. All right, let's play it from Twitter. Twitter always has good short clips.
What we've all just been watching together, as you heard from the judge right there, a jury unanimously recommending life in prison without the possibility of parole on all counts for Parkland killer Nikolas Cruz, which means he has avoided the death penalty. The 12-person jury deliberating for only 1 day. They just began yesterday.
Okay, we didn't see it. I really want to see the reaction. That's here we go.
Okay, the jurors are present. Everyone else may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my understanding that you have reached a verdict in this case. Mr. Thomas, you're the foreperson.
Just going to put this out there, guys. She's too attractive to be a judge. I've never seen a judge this attractive before.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you please pass the verdict forms to the bailiff?
He seems way too calm for someone who does not know whether they're going to get that penalty or not. but he's psychotic, so I'm not surprised. I mean, this attorney looks more invested in the outcome than he does. She appears to do some kind of like praying stance with her body language. All right, there we go. There's a little bit of emotion. He's massaging his own head, his own temple to kind of like soothe himself, I think. I do watch some body language channels on YouTube.
All of the verdict forms have been properly executed and dated and signed by the foreperson. At this time, I'm going to publish the verdicts. The State of Florida versus Nikolas Cruz, verdict form as to count 1. We, the jury, find as follows as to Nikolas Cruz in this case. Aggravating factors as to count 1, victim Luke Hoyer. We, the jury, unanimously find that the state has established beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of the aggravating factor. Nikolas Cruz was previously convicted of another capital felony or felony involving the use or threat of violence to another person. Yes. We, the jury, unanimously find that the state has established beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of the aggravating factor. Nikolas Cruz created a great risk of death to many persons. Yes. We, the jury, unanimously find that the state has established beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of the aggravating factor. The first-degree murder of Luke Hoyer was committed while Nikolas Cruz was engaged in the commission of a burglary. Yes.
Once again, guys, I did click the wrong one, and this is the 51-minute version. And I meant to click this one right. No, was that the one I clicked? All right, we're going to go back to that video. I'm going to try to skip to where he gets found, where they announce the penalty or not. Because I don't think we want to sit here for an hour watching this guy on our screen.
Count 3, Gina Montoya, beyond a reasonable doubt. The proven beyond a reasonable doubt outweigh the mitigating circumstances established. No. Signed and dated by the foreperson, Mr. Benjamin Thomas.
I don't know when they announce it here.
Count 4, Alexander Schachter. We, the jury, unanimously.
Sorry, guys. By the way, I used to live in Broward County in Florida.
So it does appear that the camera must have frozen there in the courtroom once they're able to get it back.
One or more individual jurors.
Damn, this is all this. Damn, there's a lot of charges they threw at this guy that I just fast forwarded like 10 minutes, and they're still going to the charges. They're still going. Look at this, guys. Crazy.
Nikolas Cruz.
This whole entire video is all charges.
Aggravating factor that the first-degree murder of Aaron exercise of any governmental function or the enforcement of laws. Yes. Yes.
Wow, there's still. This is crazy.
One or more duties. If the first-degree murder was related in whole or in part to Scott Beagle's official capacity. Yes. Reviewing the aggravating factors that we unanimously found to be established beyond a reasonable doubt. We, the jury, unanimously find that the aggravating factors are sufficient to warrant a possible sentence of death. Yes. one or more individual jurors find that one or more mitigating circumstances was established by the greater weight of the evidence. Yes. Eligibility for the death penalty as to count 12, victim Scott Beagle. We, the jury, unanimously find that the aggravating factors that were proven beyond a reasonable doubt outweigh the mitigating circumstances established. No. Signed October 13th, foreperson, Benjamin Thomas. Verdict form as to count 13, Meadow Pollock. Was committed while Nikolas Cruz was engaged to be established beyond a reasonable doubt. We, the jury, unanimously find that the aggravating factors are sufficient to warrant a possible sentence of death. Yes. One or more individual.
So I don't get it. All these individual charges can warrant the death penalty, they're saying, but then they don't give it to him.
Beyond a reasonable doubt, the existence of the aggravating factor, the first-degree murder of Peter Wang was committed in a cold.
Okay, so this whole video is just all the different charges. Let's see this one.
Samada, thank you. Jurors have reached a verdict in the Parkland school shooting trial. We bring in Brooke Thomas now with the latest. Brooke.
Hey there. Good morning, Tony. So right now at this point, the jury has recommended life in prison without parole. But I say so far because the judge is still reading the verdict. This is a long process, which in some ways puts in perspective just how many people lost their lives that day. You'll remember Nikolas Cruz has already pleaded guilty to first-degree murder of 17 people. He also pleaded guilty to attempted first-degree murder of 17 people for what happened that day, what he did that day at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in 2018. Again, the verdict is still being read. We're talking about 17 people who lived their lives. If you can see, who lost their lives, as you can see right here, the entire family section of the courtroom is completely full. It's packed. It is a completely sad day for so many people sitting there. Just want to break down what we have right now. So far, the jury has recommended life in prison without the possibility of parole, but the death penalty is still on the table. I'm going to get back into the newsroom and continue to follow this, and we'll bring it to you as soon as the judge finishes. Back.
Life in jail. I'm sorry. That is not okay. As a country, we need to stand up and say that's not okay. I pray that that animal suffers every day of his life in jail. And he should have a short life.
It's got to be such a disappointing day. 4 years you've been living this nightmare. And it's just, there's never going to be any closure. But this really wasn't the outcome you wanted.
No, I'm definitely not. I mean, it's been almost 5 years. We came here today, and it wasn't even a doubt in my mind that this would be the death penalty. I'm beyond disgusted of what happened, what occurred. And again, what is the death penalty for, if not for the murder and killing of 17 people?
What would you ask jurors? What would you ask them if they were right here in front of you?
What were you thinking? This isn't about your personal beliefs. It's not about your religious values. It's about the heinous crime that was committed. There is no recovery. Jail is about rehabbing someone. There is no rehabbing.
Is there any sense of relief that at least you don't have to come to court anymore? At least you don't have to see this guy anymore?
It doesn't matter at this point. And we still have to go to the cemetery to go see our daughter.
Do you think there was somebody on the jury, at least one person who, from the get-go, would vote for life, no matter what the evidence showed?
Probably.
Yeah, apparently there were 3 jurors that went against the death penalty. 3 disagreed. right over here. Judge schedule sentencing in case of 17 murders for November 1st. Oh, great. I'm sure that this brand wanted to run an ad right in front of this kind of content. Wrong time to run an ad, guys. Wrong time.
Developing now, a shock and sadness in the courtroom.
A jury recommending life in prison for Nikolas Cruz.
The jury having returned a verdict of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole.
The Parkland shooter will not be put to death.
He's not a human being, he's an animal.
Victims' loved ones shocked and saddened.
17 beautiful lives were cut short by murder. And the monster that killed them gets to live another day.
Saying justice wasn't served.
They can just say, well, look at this case. He shot up 17 people. I only killed one person. Why should I get the death penalty?
And vowing to keep fighting.
And I'm going to go to the cemetery and I'm going to tell my daughter what happened today. And I'm going to tell her I love her and always will.
There's no doubt about the fact that the verdict should have been the death penalty.
Tonight, team coverage on the verdict as the 17 victims.
So, like, as I said, like, I'm against the death penalty, but the reality is the death penalty does exist. And if this case does not warrant it, then what case does? Again, I'm anti-death penalty across the board, but it does exist. It is a penalty for heinous crimes. So I don't get to this jury what he would have had it done differently to get the death penalty versus not getting it. This, to me, should earn that as the punishment. I mean, look at all these faces that were taken way too soon. And I bet all these people had dreams and they wanted to start a family. Most of these are young kids. I think some of them are teachers. I think Aaron Faze and Chris Hickson look like they're teachers, and Scott Beagle. So there are 3 teachers in there, but the rest look like students. I remember the name Meadow Pollock. I remember I was out somewhere in Florida and I met a girl and she was actually cousins of Meadow Pollock. I remember that. I met her at a bar one time.
Are remembered forever.
Local 10 News starts right now.
It has been an extremely emotional day for the victims' families who were praying.
So that's the update, guys, on this animal scumbag. That's some of the parents' reaction. And let's hear our boy DeSantis react to this, because obviously we all love DeSantis, and I'm sure he's going to bring the fire as he always does.
If you have a death penalty at all, that is a case where you're massacring those students with premeditation and utter disregard for basic humanity, that you deserve the death penalty. And so the jurors came back. Apparently it was 11-1 with one holdout refused.
So they're saying one holdout here. The other article said 3. I think it's actually going to be worse if it was just 1. If it was 3, that actually, in my mind, is kind of like there was more than one person. There was a few of them that kind of agreed together. But if there was just one holdout, that's really just unfortunate.
Using to authorize the ultimate punishment. And that means that this killer is going to end up getting a same sentence of people who've committed bad acts, but acts that did not rise to this level.
Yep.
I just don't think anything else is appropriate except a capital sentence in this case. And so I was very disappointed to see that. I'm also disappointed that we're 4.5 years after these killings and we're just now getting this. You know, they used to do this. He would have been executed in 6 months. He's guilty. Everybody knew that from the beginning. And yet it takes years and years in this legal system that is not serving the interests of victims.
Well said, DeSantis. Well said. He is the man. All right, guys, we're going to jump over now to January 6th committee, the clown show. Let's see what they have to say about what's going on.
Gentleman yields back. During this committee's first hearing in July of last year, our witnesses were 4 police officers who helped repel the riots of January 6th. We asked them what they hoped to see the committee accomplish over the course of our investigation. Officer Gunnell wanted to know why the rioters were made to believe that the election process was rigged. Officer Fanone asked us to look into the actions and activities that resulted in the day's events. Officer Hodges was concerned about whether anyone in power had a role. Officer Dunn put it simply, get to the bottom of what happened. We've worked for more than a year to get those answers. We've conducted more than 1,000 interviews and depositions. We received and reviewed hundreds of thousands of pages of documents. Thanks to the tireless work of our members and investigators, we have left no doubt, none, that Donald Trump.
I do watch him sometimes. I do watch Salty Cracker sometimes. I think he's fantastic. But I'm not like a regular viewer of his. Like, I don't watch him every day.
Led an effort to upend American democracy that directly resulted in the violence of January 6th. He tried to take away the voice of the American people in choosing their president and replace the will of the voters with his will to remain in power. He is the one person at the center of the story of what happened on January 6th. So we want to hear from him. The committee needs to do everything in our power to tell the most complete story possible and provide recommendations to help ensure nothing like January 6th ever happens again. We need to be fair and thorough and gain a full context.
Fair and thorough.
For the evidence we've obtained. But the need for this committee to hear from Donald Trump goes beyond our fact finding. This is a question about accountability to the American people. He must be accountable. He is required to answer for his actions. He's required to answer to those police officers who put their lives and bodies on the line to defend our democracy. He's required to answer to those millions of Americans whose votes he wanted to throw out as part of his scheme to remain in power. And whatever is underway to ensure this accountability under law, this committee will demand a full accounting to every American person of the events of January 6th. So it is our obligation to seek Donald Trump's testimony. There's precedent in American history for Congress to compel the testimony of a president. There's also precedent for presidents to provide testimony and documentary evidence to congressional investigators. We also recognize that a subpoena to a former president is a serious and extraordinary action. That's why we want to take this step in full view of the American people, especially because the subject matter at issue is so important to the American people and the stakes are.
Let's be honest, it's not that important to the American people. The average American does not care about January 6th. All the polling data shows this is a non-issue for almost all Americans. Only a small percentage of blue anon, that's what we call the Democrats who are conspiracy theorists. Only a small percentage of blue anon voters deeply care about January 6th and think that it was some kind of ultra meaningful day. So that's just the truth about what's going on here.
So high for our future and our democracy. And so I recognize the Vice Chair, Ms. Cheney of Wyoming, to offer a motion.
Too bad she's got primary and has no future in politics. I hope she runs. I hope she runs because she will steal votes from, she should run as an independent to steal votes from Biden. That would help us out. That's a 4D chess move.
But our duty today is to our country and our children and our Constitution. We are obligated to seek answers directly from the man who set this all in motion. And every American is entitled to those answers, so we can act now to protect our republic. So this afternoon, I am offering this resolution that the committee direct the chairman to issue a subpoena for relevant documents and testimony under oath from Donald.
I really hope he does, though. I don't think it's in his best interest to, but I hope he does actually show up and testify, because that would be some of the best television ever. And I think that he'd drop a lot of truth bombs under oath. He would probably drop so many truth bombs. Professor at Catholic Notre Dame University allegedly offering to help students seeking abortions calls those who disagree white nationalist Catholic hate groups. So I'm not white. I'm not Catholic. I do love America. I also do love other countries like Thailand, like Vietnam, Mexico. I think they're all fantastic countries, especially for American people to live in. It's incredible there. Especially American dudes. You'll have your pick of the litter because you become more desirable overseas than when you are in your own country. It's just facts. Plus your dollar's stronger, so you automatically become richer. I do think we need American first candidates. So in that regard, I guess you could say I'm a bit of a nationalist. Because I do think that every country should put their people first. Mexican president should put the Mexico people first. So I think that every country should be, a bit of a nationalist and have that pride and respect to their country. But I'm not white. I'm not a Catholic, and I don't have hate in my heart. So, and I'm pro-life. So let's see if we got a video to watch for you guys. No video. Okay. Let's see what else we got on Gateway Pundit. I always got to be careful, like what I can read and what I can't read. You hear my ringtone? That is from Impractical Jokers, one of the scenes with Sal. I decided to put that on my phone and make that my ringtone. So this is part of what makes the Democrat thing sick, and where they're not just trying to abort babies, safe, legal, rare, rape, incest, mother's life's at risk. They're trying to just normalize this and make it aspirational to murder your baby while it's in the womb. And I actually saw, I think, this video before on TikTok. Woman raps in front of Planned Parenthood with the words, "I got murder on my mind," so she can be baby daddy free. Do you guys hear that? These people will call it murder when it's convenient for them. But if you say abortion is murder to them, they'll say it's just a zygote or a fetus isn't a human. Now, the other way to look at this video here, this woman, is that she could just be desperate for fame, and she knew that she would stir the pot and be shared by conservatives and go viral. And if that's the case, this is pretty sick. If you actually genuinely believe this, it's also very sick. But if she's just doing this for fame and for clout, in some ways that's even more demented than if she truly believed this. Oh my God. She said, "I am aborting." So she basically just said, "I am aborting." On my way to the clinic, I forgot the plan B. Look at these people. They know that plan B exists. They know what its purpose is. And she's just like, "Oh, I forgot it." And that's the issue that a lot of pro-life people have, like me. Abortion has replaced the plan B pill. And that's disgusting, because you shouldn't murder a human just because you're not ready or you don't want the human. That's not a good reason. Let's go. I got murder on my mind. Let's go. Bitch, I got murder on my mind. Let's go. Yeah, bitch, I got murder on my mind. And I bet the Democrat machine, the left machine, is going to actually push this content out. I bet they're going to push it out and promote this. And this is going to make, and you know what's crazy? This is a black woman promoting abortion. Most likely has mostly a black audience, most likely, which already has the highest rates of abortion, almost 45%. That's the black genocide. That's where Black Lives Matter should be putting their efforts. And this is just going to encourage more casual sex, more abortions, and no guilt about it. And it's going to perpetuate more content just like this because they're going to see how many views, likes she gets. And sometimes people don't care about the press they get. They don't care about the type of press. They just want any press. You know? Like, yeah, I could go out to the streets and I could act like an unhinged lunatic to get YouTube views. I don't want to do that. I would rather just do what I do, like I've been doing for years now, 2 years, where I'm like usually very kind to people, very polite. I can talk to both sides. You know, only time I'd say that I got out of line is when the guy called me a fascist on the street. I called him a pedophile, but I did that to prove a point. I was just trying to prove a point that like we're all just saying words at this point, when the left has shown way more signs of fascism than the right, and they're calling us fascists. Doesn't make any sense. But I will say the left also does show a lot of signs of pedophilia, like switching the name to minor attracted persons, these teacher activists, gender affirming surgery, which is really genital mutilation on kids, drag shows for kids. So there are a lot of things the left promotes and believes and encourages and supports that is on the pathway to pedophilia. Let's put it that way. So what I said wasn't necessarily out of line, but I don't know if that guy actually is or not. It was just kind of proving a point when I was on the street.
He wanna settle down, niggas selling all these dreams. He got 1 kid, 2 kid, 3 kid, 4. Bitch, he cheaper by the dozen if his ass have any more. And I'm only 25, still got a couple years to go. I don't need a babysitter, cause this baby gotta go.
So 25 is not that young, ladies. Like, you gotta understand, 25 is really not too young to have a baby. If anything, one of my biggest regrets in life is not having had a kid already, and I'm 39. You know, if I had a kid at 25, my kid would almost be out of the house by now. I would be on my path to having grandkids soon, which would have been awesome. Here I am at 39 now, trying to look for a baby mama and a wife in the Philippines when I can get there next year at some point. So this is insane. And, you know, the girl that had my abortion in 2017, she was 26, and she said, I'm too young to have a kid. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, 50 years ago, 26 was like late. In Mexico, 26 is late. In Venezuela, 26 is late. But when you start to get brainwashed by this progressive feminism, where they tell you you don't need a man, put your career first, have a baby when you want to, when you're, in your mid-30s, then you start thinking that 25 is too young, and you perpetuate that belief when that's not the reality. People should strive to have kids, because look, the reality is right now in society, the people that are having the most kids are the people that are the least prepared to have those kids. It's so ironic. It's the people that like live in the trailer parks. It's true though. And the poor neighborhoods. It's true though, that are popping out the most kids when they're still teenage moms, teenage fathers. It's the truth. Whereas these liberal elitists in New York who are making 6 figures by the time they're 25, they're not having kids till they're 35, 40. At that point, they might have only 1 or 2. And they're the people that have the money, the resources. They could afford babysitters. They could afford private schools. They're the people that have the best potential setup for these children's future. And they're having the least kids. And it's the people that are the least prepared with resources that are having the most kids. So, in that regard, it's all twisted. It's all upside down, this world.
It's a shortage on the milk, and them diapers be expensive. I ain't trying to be a milk, so I swallow all his children. I
don't even know if I should watch this on YouTube, but the reason why she doesn't want to have a kid is because milk is expensive. See, that's the problem. This is why the majority of abortions happen. Now, again, there are some abortions that happen for rape and incest, but that's less than 1%. And then when the mother's life's in jeopardy, that's less than 1%. Most abortions are gas prices are up, food is expensive, I don't have the income to afford. But yet, if you know you don't have the income to afford, gas prices are up, milk prices are going up, then why are you sleeping unprotected and letting men ejaculate inside of you? That's the issue here. The issue here is there's so many options. There's so many choices, right? Condoms, abstinence, contraception, birth control, motherhood, adoption, parenthood. There's so many options here. Choose the option that's not going to create the need for an abortion. If you could avoid a pregnancy in the first place, which is that's the ultimate goal. So there are these extreme pro-life people. There are extreme pro-choicers where they want to abort babies till birth. There are extreme pro-lifers that want to criminalize moms. I'm not either side. I'm just like, how do we prevent pregnancies from happening? Because I'm not against, like, I know that Bo Diddle says he's saving himself for marriage because he wants to wait till marriage to have sex. To me, that's very extreme, but I also respect his views, right? I have friends that I know that are waiting until marriage as well, that I met through the conservative movement. Good for them. I'm not like that. If I go out tonight, for example, to a bar and I met a woman that wants to sleep with me, I'd probably sleep with her, because as long as I'm using protection and I'm safeguarding myself from getting her pregnant, I don't see the issue. That's why I'm not as extreme as some people are. And that's, they're allowed to have their own views on this. I was a pro-choicer the original way: safe, legal, rare, rape, incest, mother's life's at risk. That's where I was. I was cool with that. First trimester, I was cool with that. But then when you start hearing up till birth, 30 days after birth, for any reason whatsoever, it's like, yo, this is crazy. Then when you find out about why Planned Parenthood started with Margaret Sanger and the eugenics ideas and how it targeted Black and brown babies, then you're like, whoa, this is a bit much. Let's dial this back.
Got hyphy in my blood, so you know I'm big dipping. Niggas trying to fall in love. Tell them niggas I ain't with it. I done took care of niggas, now it's time to care for me. Rearrange the alphabets and skip the L's, I'm a P. I be on these bitches' necks, they like Nick, I can't breathe. VVS is in my Cuban, and my wrist is AP. Let's go. Yeah, bitch, I got murder on my mind. Let's go. Bitch, I got murder on my mind. Let's go. Bitch, I got murder on my mind. Let's go. Bitch, I got murder on my mind. I'm BDF, nigga, baby daddy free. That mean I ain't got a nigga, baby coming out of me. So I'm a.
She could have made a song, Baby Daddy Free. Like, that's actually pretty catchy, Baby Daddy Free. But instead of saying I'm Baby Daddy Free because I aborted and killed my baby, why not say, like, I'm Baby Daddy Free because I used condoms, or on birth control, or I'm abstaining and wait until marriage? Why not say, like, that's why I'm Baby Daddy Free? I'm Baby Daddy Free because I'm focusing on my career. I'm Baby Daddy Free because I'm chasing that money. Like, why not use those lines instead? You know what I'm saying? I'm Baby Daddy Free because I use condoms. I'm Baby Daddy Free. Now I have no problems. Like, there's rhymes that you could use and make up to get the same message across. You know? This is crazy. Let's finish the song.
I ain't got a nigga, baby coming out of me. So I'm ABORTING. On my way to the clinic, I forgot the plan B. Let's go.
I will say in her defense, it's a very catchy beat. It is a catchy beat. And to see this and hear the left whine about hard cases as the sole need for abortions pretty much shoots their excuses into the dirt. These people are evil, period. Yep, I'm going to give this girl a follow because that is a based comment. The alternative is that she has 5 kids with 5 men. Abortion is bad, but it's quite the dilemma. Why are those the two? I'm going to comment. Why are those the only two outcomes in your mind? What about condoms? Contraceptives? Adoption? Motherhood? Birth control pills? How about ethical non-monogamy? So there we go. You guys saw me tweet live, guys. Send now. I have the blue, so I can actually like unsend. Okay, let's go back to the tweet. Read some more reactions to this. Margaret Sanger would approve. They'd be doing the job for her. Exactly. Margaret Sanger was a eugenicist who wanted to kill Black and brown babies born in poor communities. I would hate to be someone who lives in a bubble and clues to what's going on around the country and the rest of the world. But when I see stuff like this, I kind of feel maybe not, it might not be such a bad way to live. It is true. There is something to be said for people that don't keep up with politics. My life was a lot more, I'd say, pleasant before I became politically motivated, right? I'm just going to be honest with you guys. It was easier for me to sleep around when I was a liberal than as a conservative, because liberal women sleep around more than conservative women. It's part of the value set. This is not being rude or insulting. It's the reality. And again, there are conservative women that do or claim to be, but still sleep around. But in general, conservative women typically are religious. They're more relationship oriented, family oriented. They're more God fearing Jesus people. Liberals are more likely to be atheist, feminist, sexual liberation. You do you. I chase pleasure all the time. So I'm just saying, like, when you are a liberal, it is much easier to sleep around. The other thing is, most of the girls I dated historically have been liberals, because I dated most girls in New York and LA. I would say 90% of my ex-girlfriends have been liberal-minded. So I noticed after 2020, a lot of them I was still Facebook friends with, they all started deleting me from Facebook because I started becoming a Trump supporter. So what happens is I actually repel a lot of liberal women who are the easiest to, or easier to say, to sleep with than conservative women. That is just facts, not offensive. I used to be a liberal. I also was a bit of a, player, whatever you want to call it, man whore. I wasn't a player so much because I was always honest about my intentions, but I put myself out there a lot because I was very liberal minded. I just did not feel any guilt about it. I was like, hey, living free. We're all adults. We're all consenting adults. But now that I'm more conservative thinking and I want to avoid this exact scenario where I have to choose, which I would choose pro-life, but I would have to maybe fight the woman about having the baby, not physically, of course, but like through arguments like, hey, here's why you shouldn't abort my baby. That happened to me once already. I'm not going to let it happen again. So, that's just what's going on. And I'm trying to be respectful about the situation, but, these are uncomfortable facts and uncomfortable realities. I don't know which is more gross, the singer, the twerker, or the blonde wig. I'm okay with the blonde wig, actually, but I think the overall ideology is the grossest part. Disgusting, violent, evil. Also notice at 147, she flips off Christ. Tried to get a better screenshot, but it happened too fast. The culture in the United States is trash, and we are a fallen nation. The ones out front and center don't define the United States, dear. This is actually a really positive step. We're at the stage where advocates are admitting that abortion is indeed legalized murder. Now we can talk about what situation murder is indeed justifies. We're speaking the same language finally. Wow. That person's getting a follow as well. I know I go against the grain on this one and the conservative line, but to be honest, I do not want these ilk having kids. Frankly, I'd be quite okay if lots of libs lined up in front of PP. Shrug. So this is where things start to get tricky, right? This is where things start to get a little bit tricky, right? Because there was this book called Freakonomics, and they did this study about crime in New York, and it was about why crime decreased in the 90s. A lot of people theorized it was because of tougher on crime laws, new gun laws, gun restrictions, all that stuff. But what the economists showed was that it was actually because of Roe versus Wade, because a lot of the babies that were being aborted were the babies that were going to be born to single mothers. And a baby born without a father is most likely to get involved in crime when they're older. So those babies from the 70s that were now being aborted, they would have been teenage men in the 90s. This is their prime age to commit crime. They were now no longer existing. So it wasn't causation, it was correlation. But what they showed was Roe versus Wade actually led to reduction in crime. Pretty crazy. Somebody who will have an abortion for whatever reason, that'll actually have it, typically is a liberal. Conservatives, no matter what the circumstances are, most of them, unless they're hypocrites, most of them will still have the baby and just kind of deal with it and make it work. And maybe they'll fail at parenthood, but they won't abort the baby most likely. The other thing is we're heading towards a conservative future because liberals are having less kids than conservatives. I think conservatives have like 0.7 or 0.8 more kids than liberals do. So in 40, 50 years, we're going to have a majority conservative society. It's going to flip back to conservatives. So you would think that conservatives who aren't aborting their kids would kind of be silent on the issue, because it's kind of like, all right, if it's the liberals that are aborting their babies and the conservatives aren't, why are we speaking out so loudly about abortion being murder when it's not our political side that's doing it? Well, it's because conservatives are very principled. They don't want any baby to be killed, regardless of political ideology. We would rather save the babies, even if they all end up becoming liberals when they're older. We would rather save the babies than win a presidential election, which is, very interesting, because the principle of saving babies' lives and preventing murder is the higher good than winning a presidential election to most conservatives, from what I've seen and what I've heard. So this point here, if you are like kind of pessimistic or even maybe a little realistic, is a position that some people do hold. We can't ignore and say it doesn't exist. It does, right here in front of us. But I don't want to win elections because people killed their babies. Because to me, it's the same concept as I don't want to be a millionaire because I killed a human. I don't want to go out tonight to a bar, become $1,000 richer because I killed someone for their Rolex that I saw. That's essentially what a lot of abortion is. I want to be better off in the future financially, so I need to kill this other human. It's the same concept as burglars and robbers. I want to be richer right now, so I need to kill this person and rob them for their wallet. So it's crazy stuff. Utterly despicable, the destruction of a civilized society. The body language here is incredible in some of these photos. The body language is unbelievable. Either he's from a different era or this is just inappropriate behavior. The Democrat Party theme song. That's not David Hogg. No, okay, I thought that might have been the activist. But you can't lie, it's type catchy. That's what I was saying. It is a catchy beat, but just make it about you didn't have babies because you're focused on your career. So the proposed California rule on many criminal cases. Oh, there it is, the middle finger to Christ. There it is. Didn't they say it's not a baby? So how does she have murder on her mind? Sick people. Glorifying abortion's demonic. I have to agree that I don't want these people reproducing. I'm very pro-life, but to do videos promoting it, to make it a good thing is evil. Correct. And I'm not even going to pronounce this person's username. Strange username. Interestingly, the lyrics call it a baby instead of a fetus or a clump of cells. Well, that's the thing. If you really do believe it's not a baby, then you're not actually committing murder. Then there's no issue of morality there. Because to you, it's like you're killing an ant. And most people would kill an ant. Or they'd kill a fly or a mosquito. Like, you don't think that that's a human life, so you'd kill it. So if you really do believe, it's not a baby, it's a fetus or clump of cells, then you have no moral. There's no issue of morality. You're not committing a murder. But scientifically speaking and biologically speaking, I think 96% of scientists, including including pro-choice, including liberal scientists, do believe life starts at conception, that it's a human life since the two sperm and egg go together. So the reality is, if you are a person who's rooted in reality, then you will think it is a baby. I used to be very against abortion, but I realized the only people getting them are the ones that should not procreate. Well, that was the Margaret Sanger issue. Was she wanted to, in her opinion, she saw people that she thought shouldn't procreate, and that's why they should be aborted, and that's why she was a eugenicist. Because who is she to determine who is worth and valued being born or not? There are a lot of people that were born in bad situations that became something of themselves, that succeeded, especially in the U.S. And so that's why every baby should be given that opportunity to just have a chance at life and thrive, because that baby will never be reborn again. Not the only, but for the most part, yes, which is why conservatives need to set a reasonable goal, 4 months perhaps. Originally, we did compromise and say up to the first trimester. That was acceptable to most people that weren't extreme conservatives. Most moderates or people that lean slightly right kind of agreed like that's a good compromise. But when you go up to the birthday, it's like if you got to choose one or two sides, you're kind of forced to go on the pro-life side. There's literally nothing to be proud of here, nothing redemptive or positive, so why flex it? I mean, this is the degeneration of society. You know, it's like everything that we're witnessing. Originally, it started with gay people just want to come out and be allowed to be open and be themselves. Society mostly said, sure, that's not a problem. You should be yourselves. And then the gay community said, well, we want to get married now and have equal rights to show our love. And then most people, even Republicans, agreed and said, all right, that sounds pretty reasonable. Then it became, we want to teach children about gay people. And it's like, I guess that sounds all right, you know? And then it became, we think that we should have drag shows for kids or pride parades for kids. And it was, you know, now, well, especially the pride shows were before the drag shows, but the pride shows were like, all right. The pride parades, all right. And then the drag shows is like, whoa, now it's getting a little strange. And then it became, my kid is trans. And we want to cut their genitals off and mutilate their bodies, sterilize them. It's like, what? Where did that come from? And now the new step is, we don't know what a woman is. We don't know what gender is. Gender is just a lie. Sex is a lie. Social construct. And now the new one is, babies know they're trans in the womb. This is legit what a scientist said recently. Babies know if they're trans in the womb. Boston Children's Hospital. If you're in Boston, I would advise you guys not to let your kid go there. Boston Children's Hospital says kids know they're trans from the womb in now deleted video. From the womb. So this little peanut right here knows it's trans. So if it knows it's trans, it has that level of awareness, then why is it not a human and a baby, and why can you kill it? You see, that's the problem with liberal ideology. The amount of hypocrisy that you could point out in their arguments is so extremely high. It's so extremely high. You know, but at least the Republicans, the conservatives, are a bit more consistent in their beliefs. In general, there are exceptions, but in general, conservatives are more consistent in their beliefs. I wish we could see that video, but I don't think they have it up. So anyway, guys, that's some crazy stuff today. I hope you guys enjoyed this this stream. We watched some of the Parkland shooter. We watched some January 6th unselect committee clown show. And then we also reacted to the strangest hip-hop video, the most demonic hip-hop video that I've seen this year. But again, as I was saying earlier, it's like baby steps. You got Cardi B and Nicki Minaj rapping and talking about, you know, the gangster rap and all that stuff. And then you had them talking about WAP, the wet ass. And now we have people just bragging about aborting babies. I mean, I don't know what's next. I have no idea what's next. This is my account, guys, if you want to follow me on Twitter. I have gained a few subs lately, so I'm at 635 now on Twitter. I get pulled into like these like Twitter chains where like a supporter or follower of the MAGA movement will tag like 20 people, and then they'll say retweet to support these patriots, and then they'll retweet, and then everyone in that chain will follow you, and you have to follow them back. So that's kind of how I'm growing right now. It does feel a bit spammy. I don't ever put those posts out, but I just get included on them, and I'm totally cool with that because, you know, Twitter, that's kind of how you grow early on. It's kind of what you need to do to get your name out there. So I'm not too upset about that. I see a great comment here by Jennifer Floyd. I feel so bad for those men who are crying, please don't kill my baby, and they have rights to have a say. It's not fair. They should be able to have it if the mother don't want her. That's where I was. I was on that side. We did a show right here about this. There was a man named Shane Corey whose baby was aborted against his will. And if you guys want to watch that episode, just type in the TNA show, Shane Corey. This is the name. I'll put a link in the description so you guys can watch it. But he's actually an activist for fathers' rights when it comes to an abortion. He's actually an activist because his partner, she was pregnant, went to visit her liberal family, and her liberal family convinced her to have an abortion without consulting him. So by the time he saw his girlfriend again, she said she got rid of the baby. And he was broken because he always dreamed of having 6 babies. And that was going to be his 6th child. And the baby was going to be named Moon, I think from the book Goodnight Moon. So he calls it Justice for Baby Moon.
I've been in the pro-liberty conservative movement for about, over 23 years now. And so for me, a lot of issues hit close to home. The right to life, the right to liberty, which are one and the same, and several other issues. But it's for me, it's for your listeners out there. I do strategy and a lot of fundraising. So I've raised, I stopped counting a decade ago. When I stopped counting, I'd raised over $100 million for really select groups, from Project Veritas to I work with Laura Loomer and a lot of other groups, Hillsdale College. And for me, it's it's been my career. After I got out of the Marine Corps, I went and worked with the group Judicial Watch, which I'm sure everybody's familiar with.
So 2 things I want to respond to. Number 1, I haven't adopted yet. I'm going to adopt when I have a partner, because it's much easier to adopt the baby when you actually have a 2-parent household. It's very difficult otherwise. So I am going to adopt because I want to be an advocate for adoption, because I was adopted myself. So pulling that bullshit on me is nonsense, that question. I haven't adopted yet because I haven't even had a wife, a family, or a baby. So I will adopt in the future, probably in the next 5 years. But I also do want to get a girl pregnant and go through childbirth and experience that also. So I will adopt a baby. It's always been a goal of mine. I've spoken about this before. Sorry that you must have missed that stream. But I do have my own health issues right now that I need to get through before I can actually consider procreating and then adopting a baby in the future. Because I do want to have a multiracial baby, and I do want to give back and give a child the benefit of what I receive personally. And Renzo, you're not adopted, nor are you going to adopt. So don't pull that shit on my channel. Ice-T Games here said, my concern is that babies don't have rights. That's a problem. America has always granted personhood to an expanding group of people. It started with people that were slaves. They got full personhood. Then it started with women. They got full personhood. The next phase is going to be babies in the womb are going to get full personhood. That's going to happen probably if I'm alive in 30, 40 years, probably by the end of my lifetime. Babies are going to get recognized as people in the womb. But if not in my lifetime, it'll happen after we're all long gone. Maybe some of you will be alive to see that. But babies will get personhood at some point in the near future, because we're moving towards a conservative society, which will happen in the next 50 years. See, Jennifer, adoption is hard. My aunt has a waiting list for over 5 years. She went to a poor country to adopt my cousin. Right. I'm probably going to adopt somewhere in the Philippines when I get there. But again, I would have babies now. I'm ready. I've been ready for 2 years, but COVID fucked up my plans. And then, because then I wasn't vaccinated, I couldn't even get into the Philippines. So that's number 1. Number 2, this kidney failure thing is also a big issue. I literally can't travel right now until I'm all trained with my new version of peritoneal dialysis, which will allow me to travel and bring the bags and materials to the Philippines. So I'm going through a new process now to set myself up to meet my wife, to meet my partner next year. I don't know who she is yet. I have no idea. I'm not going through the apps. I'm going to go to the source. And if I can't get into the Philippines, I'll go to Vietnam or I'll go to Thailand as my third option. Finding a partner, it's going to be in order. As of right now, Philippines is my first number 1, then Vietnam, and then third is going to be Thailand in order. I do want to live in Thailand first and foremost. I'd like to bring my Filipino wife to Thailand, move her there, and raise my family in Thailand. That is my ultimate goal. That's the country where I ultimately want to end up in this world. It is extremely safe. Now, there have been some mass shootings in Thailand. There's one in 2021, and there was one in 2022 this year. One was at a school this year. One was at a mall last year. I keep an eye on Thailand because that's my future home where I plan on living long term. That's my ideal goal. But I would go to the Philippines to find the wife and then bring her to Thailand and get property there somewhere in one of the beach communities, maybe something like Hua Hin, maybe somewhere down in Phuket. Phuket's phenomenal. Thank you, Dream On, for the super chat. I appreciate you. So there you go. I mean, Ice-T Games, he did it. He married a Thai girl 20 years ago. I'm just going to say, Ice-T Games, I have no idea who you are. Don't know what you look like. I never even seen you before on my stream. This is my first time, so welcome to my stream. But I do want to say my guess is you probably, and this is not to, I don't even know what you look like. So this is just speaking in generalities. But I bet you probably were able to attract and marry a much physically more attractive younger woman in Thailand than you would have here in the US. I almost guarantee that you were able to find a more attractive woman going overseas than you would here, and who probably fits your lifestyle better, and who probably embraces a more traditional relationship. That is my guess. That is my absolute guess. My friend went to Hawaii, married a Filipino. She's beautiful. A lot of Filipinos in Hawaii. That is true, but Hawaii is very, very expensive. And until I'm making $10,000 a month on YouTube, which isn't happening anytime soon, I'll tell you that, guys, it is really hard to date the elite women in America. I really do think to date a very high quality woman in terms of, I'm talking just physical appearance, not quality of character or heart. We're not talking about that right now. We're talking about a smoke show, dime piece, chica guapa, that when you walk down the street, other men stare at her and get jealous. I'm talking about that kind of woman. We're not talking about heart or kindness or goodness. I'm just talking about physically speaking. To attract that kind of woman in the U.S., when those women have all the options, and we are a very expensive, rich country, you would probably have to make at least $25,000 a month, or be a man of status, which means you're probably making $25,000 a month to attract a very attractive woman. I'll tell you this, guys, I had a much easier time dating women when they knew that I was a high income earner, when they knew that I was the number one sales guy at my company, when they knew that I used my platinum card and I had a $20,000 monthly company expense budget. That's when I attracted women the easiest in my life, was when I was just literally going out to dinners, dropping $400 or $500 on a meal, getting bottle service at clubs, taking them on flights, taking them on Uber, whatever that's called, a high class one. That's when I was able to get the most action in my life. Plus I was a liberal, plus they were liberal women. Plus I was living in New York, and plus we were all like always going out, having a good time, drinking, dancing, all that stuff. So the whole situation was stacked in my favor, but I had the money and the means to do that lifestyle and to live that lifestyle. And I remember some girls I dated got mad at me when I lived that lifestyle. There was one girl I was dating, and we got a little drunk at a wedding. We got in a bit of a fight at the wedding, not publicly. We got in a fight in the taxi. So I'm in the car next to her. We're fighting. We got a hotel room together. I think it was like a Marriott, $250 a night Marriott. So we're in the, and I'm like, look, we're fighting right now in the car. I'm going to give you that hotel room, and I'm just going to book my own room. So that way we have some separation. We could cool off. I thought that was a reasonable thing. And she was like, you're just now trying to brag about how much money you have, how you could just drop $250 on a hotel right now. You're just trying to show off your money. And I was like, yo, it's not about that right now. It's about, we're fighting, we're drinking, you're acting a little crazy, I'm acting a little crazy. Let's just cool off and separate and get breakfast tomorrow when we're all sober. I thought it was reasonable. But she then flipped it on, you're just trying to show off and brag. And yeah, I did that a lot. I was able to go out on dates. And, if I was living in like the east side of Manhattan and we were on the west side, I'd just be like, yo, let's get a hotel right next to the restaurant. And sometimes the girl would be like, yeah, let's do that. And it was like, oh, $200, whatever. I'm only using it for 4 hours. I just didn't give a shit. It was just money bags. And so when you're living that like high lifestyle, women see that you have resources. They see that you are able to provide. And so they're into you. But to do that life here in America, you need to be making $25,000 a month, which I was making way more than that at the time. I make like nothing now. It's funny. I've gone from like the 1% to like the scum of the earth. So it's pretty funny that I've kind of seen both sides. I never was super elite wealthy. Like I never made more than $1 million a year, which would have been amazing. I never got that high, but like I've lived pretty two good lives so far in terms of like my income. And I've just been able to manage my spending since then, which is kind of, that's on me. That's me being able to be responsible financially and not be like some crazy baller. But again, to do that lifestyle in America, you got to be a baller. To do it in Thailand, you don't have to be a baller. You could do that same lifestyle for like $150 a night. If you think about that, that's only like $4,500 a month. That's not bad. Like I would spend $3,000-4,000 a month a week in New York, but you'd spend it in a month in Thailand, staying in nice hotels, living this spontaneous lifestyle, taking girls out, buying bottle service. Bottle service in Thailand, I think, was $100 at a club. And then in Cambodia, it was even cheaper. It was like $40. You could even go to some clubs where it was $20 a bottle. And then Mexico too, same thing. You go to Mexico, you can find places $50 a bottle, $100 a bottle. So that's the point, though. You can live that high life in Thailand, in Mexico, in Vietnam, and then attract those same quality of women that you were getting in the U.S., but had to spend thousands of dollars on. That's just all truth. That's why I just tell men, if you are an incel, which means involuntarily celibate, if you are an incel or you're struggling to attract women, get your ass up, go to Southeast Asia, go to Colombia, take some ladies out, some local ladies, get your tip wet, have a good time, build up your confidence, and then come back to the U.S. as a new man. When I was younger, I played basketball a lot. And I remember there was one summer where I played this one park where I was by far the best player there. I was playing far below my level. I was able to dunk at the time. A lot of the kids were like a few years younger than me. So I was by far the best. But what happened that summer was, because I was the best, I was the clutch, I was the go-to guy, I was the only one who could dunk. It built up my confidence. It gave me an ego boost, right? And I don't want to compare women and dating to that. I'm just talking about like monetarily, right? Like you go to Thailand or Vietnam, your dollar's worth more. So you're spending below your means. So I was playing ball below my means, and it actually gave me this huge ego boost. So then when I returned to players at my level or above, the crazy thing was I actually improved against them, which is counterintuitive, because now I had this boost of confidence, this ego. I knew what I could do. I knew I could dunk. I knew I could take it to the hole. And I practiced against smaller, weaker people. So by the time I got to the bigger, stronger ones, I had more confidence to try. Whereas before I was very timid. I was a little nervous. I was holding back. But once I knew I could dunk, I would just go to the hoop much harder, much higher. And even though I couldn't dunk against the bigger players, I could then absorb the contact, do some kind of double pump floater, reverse layup, or all that things. Because I had a 40-inch vertical back then. I could fly. And I didn't even work on my legs. If I worked on my legs, I probably could have got up to 48-inch vertical. Now I'm starting to do leg exercises again because I finally have some mobility in my legs and knees. But I'm doing jumping exercises because my goal is to be able to dunk again. I can't even grab rim anymore because of what I've been through. But I'd like to try to get there. I'd like to try to get back. Let's see. I'm trying to read these comments. And again, Dream On, appreciate your super chat. You're the man. That is not right. I can't stand a gold digger. No man should be used like that. Wow, that's crazy how my husband works and I work. We're not rich, but we share the responsibility. So, Jennifer, in my opinion, there's two kind of marriages that I think work. One marriage is traditional. Man provides, woman is stay-at-home housewife. Gender norms are intact. I believe there is a lot of research saying that people with traditional gender norms actually are happier on average than those that are more progressive. But if both people are truly partners in a relationship, that's the second type of relationship that could work. The third one is when one person is not pulling their weight based on whatever setup or expectations people have. Whether that's so if a man wants a traditional relationship where he's got a stay-at-home wife and the woman isn't behaving that way, well, that relationship is set up for failure. If the relationship is built on partnership, like it sounds like you have, and both sides are actually doing their weight, that can also work. But if you have the expectations of one or the other, and they're not fulfilling those roles, that's when problems happen in marriages, from my understanding. Man is the head of the traditional family, but they are truly partners, and the man is a vessel. I want to give a shout out to a channel that really does a good job at talking about this. I'm supposed to get her on the channel at some point, but because of schedules, our meeting got canceled. But her channel is Real Femme Sapien. She's amazing. She got 100,000 subscribers in 6 months. So she did this in 4 years, in 6 months, which is taking me. I'm only at 40K, and it's been 2 years for me. So she has grown much faster than me. But she had an amazingly viral clip about women who have no problem being passive to their boss at work, submissive to their boss at work, but they have a problem being submissive to their men, which doesn't make any sense. You should submit to your husband more than you should submit to your boss at work. But when your boss at work says, hey, get me the coffee, you'll do it. But when the husband says, can you make me a coffee? A lot of women will say, get your own coffee, asshole. I don't know where that video is. Let's watch her most popular video.
Oh, I absolutely do not think that women should be in combat units. No way. I mean, you can be a paper pusher, sure, but the fact that the United States government rubber stamped me and other women as if we are able to pick up and carry men in full kit off the battlefield, that's a no for me, dog. And that's the problem with wokeism, because a smart commander would be like, they gave you this, but I'm not going to make you do that because you're going to get people killed. Well, until you have an indoctrinated commander, because he's going to let you go out there. Oh, I absolutely.
Yep. Also, the same thing goes for police. I honestly don't, I'm not comfortable with in general, women being police officers or men that are out of shape being police officers. And I'll just tell you why. They could be in a police role somewhere, but I don't think they should be conducting arrests. Let me rephrase, okay? Because I don't want to be called misogynist. I'm uncomfortable with women being in a role where they conduct arrests. And here's why. There's a video that just went viral on the internet. You're gonna have to wait, Raindrop. There's a video that went viral on the internet of a police officer, female, trying to arrest a male suspect, and he was a 63-year-old man. He overpowered her, and it took a civilian bystander, another man, to help the female officer, subdue him. This doesn't make sense to anybody. It doesn't make sense to anybody. I would actually rather have a trans woman be a police officer than a biological woman, because trans women are stronger. Conducting arrests. Again, this is only for the role of conducting arrests. If they want to be a canine handler, where they train the dogs and they're on there with the canine, great. If they want to be a sniper, great. No problem. Do that. If they want to be in the command center, dispatcher, great. Do that. But for a female to have to arrest stronger, larger men, I'll tell you this. Most female police officers would probably have a hard time subduing me if I actually resisted an arrest. They probably would. Now, they could, of course, just pull the catheter out and kill me. They could do that. But I'm also not the kind of guy that would resist arrest. I would put my hands behind my back and just deal with it, legally. That's what I would do. But the point is, the average woman would have a hard time subduing the average man. This is not misogynistic. This is realistic. So I'm just very uncomfortable with women in the battlefields, like she said right here, or women in the police force. I don't think it's misogynistic at all. Let's see what else we got from her.
Man, look, women, if you're watching and you want to get married, at this point, I'm going to make some recommendations to you. And you don't have to believe me. That's fine. But I'm married and you're not. I'm not saying that this is the biggest resume point, but like average looks. Okay. Don't get lashes. Don't get those long nails. Keep your hair natural. Dress feminine. And wear a cardigan. Okay. Like if you want to I'm just telling you. Just watch what they're doing and then do the opposite. Like, is it going to kill you to wear a long dress with Birkenstocks? Are you going to die? You might end up married. You're welcome. Man, look.
She's right. I mean, look, I'm a guy that used to like sleeping around, and who did I like sleeping around with? Well, at the time when I was younger, anybody, right? Whatever I could get. I think that was an option on Facebook once. But yeah, like men are generally attracted to sleep with the woman that show their boobs off with the long eyelashes and then the fake nails and all that stuff. Most men are very attracted to that physically. We'll sleep with that. We'll look at them in the porn or the OnlyFans and we'll be very attracted to them. But would we marry them is the question. Would we take them seriously in a relationship if we know they're showing off their body on the internet or they're showing off their body in real life? Most men, probably not, unless you're a beta. A beta man would marry that because the woman's bringing the masculine energy in that case, and he's just going to worship her and do whatever she wants. But she's going to get bored of that and move on and cheat on him on the side, and he'll probably accept it. But if you want a happy, fulfilling marriage, she is absolutely right. You got to dress classy. You got to leave a little bit to the imagination. You got to look pretty both naturally and with makeup on. A lot of women do too much. The girls I've dated in my life, the ones I've had girlfriends, were some of the most natural people I've ever, like natural women. So you guys remember I dated that girl from Bunnell last year, the white girl from Bunnell, the farm girl. She was very natural, and a lot of people found her very attractive. Very natural, minimum makeup. My first girlfriend in college, she was half Japanese, half German, almost never wore makeup, was adorable. Very attractive girl, almost always natural. And then once in a while, they put makeup on a dress, but generally they don't do that. So she's absolutely right. She is absolutely right.
Well, I think that there's only two kinds of men who cheat, and it's the womanizer that you either ignored his red flags or you didn't find out he was a womanizer until after you got married. And then the other half of men who cheat, they are cheating because the wife is withholding sex or because she gained 150 pounds. People don't want to have that conversation, but it's true. And I actually think it's a problem. So if you withhold sex from your husband, you are sequestering him to self-pleasure for the rest of the marriage or the rest of his life. Do you really think that's sustainable? And you want him to be faithful to you? Why? Why? And then on the flip side is that if a husband is no longer attracted to his wife, he has to have sex with her anyway, if she wants it. But is that the same mindset for women? If your husband gains 150 pounds, you still going to sleep with him the same? Probably not. Right. Probably not.
She is so based. And by the way, just so the Patriots know, she is also a MAGA patriot. But she doesn't talk about it on her channel too much. She did on her Instagram for a while. I think she still does do some.
Us ladies,
she does some red pill posts on her Instagram.
Again, with the SJW nonsense. So because I am a heterosexual cisgender woman, then I should be more accommodating. Why would I advise lesbians if I'm not a lesbian? Make it make sense. Again, with the
She's right. Like, I can't really give a gay man that much advice. Not a gay man. I don't attract men. I don't know how to date a man. Same concept.
Y'all do not understand when you're coping. The military tried a gender-neutral fitness test. It was the Army Combat Fitness Test. Women still sucked significantly to the point that they had to alter the exam. They're never going to be able to have a gender-neutral fitness test without lowering the standard of men, which means lowering our national security.
Yeah, that's bullshit. If you got a standard of physical fitness and then the majority of women can't do it, you don't just lower the bar. You leave the bar where it's at and be like, you got to do better. And if you can't make that threshold, then you're not strong enough. But we're living in this gender equality woke thing where everyone's got to get a fair chance. And that's how you dilute the talent pool. It's like the same thing as affirmative action, right? It's the same concept. Oh, because you're Mexican, you could have a C+ and a 1200 on your SAT instead of the average 1400 that we usually demand. But because you're brown, come on in. And then those people that get in because of their color, not merit, they're usually not set up for success once they get there. They're underqualified to their peers. Let's see what else we got.
But honestly, I think they're effeminate men. Because the only men that I've ever seen try to flex their masculinity were men that were not secure in their masculinity. Like, they felt like they had to dominate me in the workplace because I was outperforming them. And it's like, You don't need to dominate me. You just need to outwork me. So any man that I've seen not secure in his masculinity are the ones that show out the most. And I've seen them in real life. That's why like a lot of the guys in my comment section, they get caught up on finances, hypergamy, we got to get the cash. There is so much more to being masculine than cash. Like my husband is not just a wallet. And what do you say about the blue collar dudes that make $60,000 a year, that have wives that love them, that have babies? Or like, what about the masculine men whose wives out earn them? It does exist. So what do they have to offer that other men are not offering? But honestly, I think.
So guys, she's a great channel. You should follow her on YouTube. Real Femme Sapien. That's her channel. Chat privileges, members only content. Oh, she's got this too. The join button. Speaking of the join button, if you guys like the work that I do and you want to support my channel, go ahead and click the join button right here. And you could buy me a coffee, buy me a footlong, or buy me some gas. And if 1,000 of you join to buy me a coffee, then I could do YouTube full time. And I could start pumping out even more content, which would be awesome for everybody. Hold on, guys. I got to get my dog some water. She finished the bowl already. And now she's banging on it. Bitches be needy, yo. Hold on, girl. Get inside. Come on. Inside, Cloud. Come here. What a good girl. That's a good girls. All right. Where were we, guys? Yeah. So join my channel because most of my videos get demonetized. And my videos that do well, like my shorts, don't get monetized at all because YouTube doesn't have a lot of advertisers there right now. Maybe in the future they'll have more. But if you guys like my streams, just click that join button. Buy me a coffee, buy me a footlong, buy me some gas. I only have one buy me a gas member, and he gets like the most premium badge. But as you guys could see, Dream On in the chat, he gets that really cool little logo next to his name on his channel. So I missed some nice comments from Lou Skunt. Adam is so funny. This is such an awesome channel. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, all right, I got to close the screen. It's weird seeing my face in the background as well. I don't need to see myself twice. Adam, do you support Puppy Killer, Dr. Oz, or the Aborter-in-Chief, Herschel Walker? So we already spoke about this on my last stream. I don't think Dr. Oz was the best candidate before I knew about the puppy killing stuff. Now, I did read a little bit up on it. He did not kill the puppies himself, which doesn't absolve him. His name was on the experiments that were being done. So he knew about them most likely, and he was involved most likely, which is disgusting. However, I'm trying to phrase this properly here because that's terrible. I don't think Dr. Oz or John Fetterman should be the candidates in Pennsylvania. They're both not good. John Fetterman might have been better if he wasn't dealing with recovering from a stroke. That's number one. And my heart goes out to him because I'm dealing with my own medical crisis too. And I don't think that my medical crisis should penalize me from a career. But as I said in the stream yesterday, I know that I can't have a 9 to 5 until I'm stabilized with my new dialysis, which is going to take about 3 to 4 weeks. Maybe November 1st or November 15th, I can actually entertain a job. But while I'm going through dialysis, through the blood, which is 3 days a week, 4 hours in the chair, makes me crash, come home and sleep. That's when I knew I couldn't, so I should not be doing that. So I don't think John Fetterman or Dr. Oz are the best for Pennsylvania. I think they're screwed no matter who they choose, lose. But at this point, we can't have Democrats in office. We just can't. So if Dr. Oz is the candidate, you got a puppy killer versus a cognitive impaired person. While the cognitive impaired person may have a better heart, because John Fetterman might have a good heart, whereas Dr. Oz obviously here does not. If you're killing puppies, it's the future of the U.S. is at risk. I have to align. I have to go with the party lines. I have to. We need to send a message. That's why I would, if I was Pennsylvania, I'd have to vote red. I just wish that they pulled a different candidate than Dr. Oz. He is not the right candidate for Pennsylvania. He's not the right candidate to be in politics anywhere. And I'm lucky I don't have to vote in Pennsylvania because I would not want to vote for him. It would be one of the most painful things that I have to do is vote for puppy killer. So, yeah, there's that. Let's see what else we got. Men prefer overseas women 100%. I do. I without question do. I have more fun and I'm treated way better when I date girls overseas than when I date girls in the US. And at the end of the day, I don't have to work as hard in the relationship. It's the truth. It is the absolute truth. I mean, come on, guys. Let's not lie. How often do you guys get hit on in America? How often? Very rare. How often do women buy you gifts? Very rare. How often do women initiate sex on the first date? Very rare. But you go overseas and you're a foreign man, things just become easier. They start to flow faster. Sometimes we need women to de-escalate home issues. It's really difficult for men to calm down other men. That's fair. That's a great point. We could send women who are more emotionally based and, driven. That's not a bad thing, by the way. I'm not saying that as an offensive thing. They're more in tune and they're more willing to express themselves. That's a gender norm, but gender social construct, whatever. But yes, sure, send them along to mental health calls. Absolutely. Send them along. Normal gender roles have existed and worked well for all human history. Then a few years ago, feminist movement thought they knew better. Now look at the state of the world. Great job, ladies. Hey, some men are in on that too. Some men are in on that too. I watched a female officer shoot a man 7 times because she wasn't strong enough for the male officer to wrestle the gun at a suspect's hand. The kid was 17, intoxicated. Exactly. When a woman is not strong enough to physically restrain a man, she has to go towards either taser or lethal force. That's a problem. Let's see the bottom. That's dangerous, Adam. Would you vote for a rapist because they are not a Democrat? No, the rapist would be in jail. The rapist, if they were proven of being a rapist, would not be allowed to run. They wouldn't run if they were actually accused, held guilty by a court of law. So that's a ridiculous question. That's like saying, would you vote for Nikolas Cruz? What? That there's no world that exists. So that's just a very, very ridiculous question. Now, you could say, would you vote for an accused rapist or someone that was accused of rapism? Rapism, that's not even a word. Accused of rape. See what the Democrats are doing to me? They're making me put ism on everything. Would you do that to? So Trump is not a rapist. You can't call someone a rapist that has not been in a court of law has been found guilty of that. You can't do that. You can't just go around calling people rapists without evidence or a guilty, charge. Are you in favor of euthanasia? Where are these super chats, Renzo? You ask the most questions. I address you the most, and I don't get any super chats from you. That's rude. But I'm going to answer your question because I'm a nice guy. Euthanasia. Are you talking about with pets? Are you talking about pets putting them out of their misery? When dogs are like end-stage cancer, end-stage kidney failure? Thank you, Heidi. That's more money than Renzo's given me. Yeah, but Renzo, I'm talking about today. Yesterday was yesterday. That's the past. Just like Dr. Oz killing Puppy. That's the past. No, I'm kidding. That's stuff that I really do hold against him. That's horrible. I'm not going to just like downplay that. You kill puppies. That's bad in my eyes. I mean, you guys see the relationship I have with my dogs. What kind of euthanasia are you talking about with humans? Because to me, that's just a version of legally allowed suicide. That's all that is. Right over here, it's assisted suicide. And again, to remind everybody, I am pro-life, anti-death penalty, anti-war, anti-suicide. I'm all those 4 things. Like, that's very consistent. I'm anti-murder, anti-death. So that is a very consistent thing. Because I know a lot of people that are pro-life but pro-death penalty. To me, that's an issue where it's a little hypocritical. But the way that they, in their mind, get around the hypocrisy is that they say one is an innocent life and one is a guilty life. So that's how they can break it out in their head, which I will say does introduce a different type of element, the element of guilt versus innocence. So it's not fully hypocritical in my mind, but I just find being pro-life and anti-death penalty is the most consistent. My opinion. My opinion. Yeah, I'm against this. You know, there was a woman who did this recently. She was 23 years old, and she had PTSD and survivor's guilt from, I think it was from a Brussels or something. From Brussels. Yeah, this is her. God, my memory is good, guys. The kidney failure has not affected my brain yet. 2006, Brussels attack victim granted euthanasia after years of PTSD. Shanti de Corte was 17 years old when she miraculously survived a terrorist attack at Zaventem Airport, but her psychological pain was deemed incurable by a panel of doctors. Yeah, like I'm not on board with this. I'm not on board with this. Look, I guess I'm coming from a place of privilege here, mental health privilege, which I think most of us have. I've never dealt with PTSD. I've never dealt with significant mental health issues. I might have them, never been diagnosed for them. But personally, I would have rather her lived with this struggle and eventually overcame that struggle. Now, they're saying here that some doctors found it incurable. But again, we have doctors that are granting genital mutilation on kids that say this is their only path to freedom. So just because doctors said it was incurable doesn't mean that I'm just going to be like, oh, they're doctors, they're medical professionals, they know best. I think there are cases where they do know best, but I don't think in this case, this is something that is a good path. But again, if you look at the world through two lenses, population control and money, which I believe are the two biggest issues that we have. I think that's what's underlying across everything, population control and money. That's my guess about what's going on in the world. Then that makes sense why they would promote this, why this would be available, why this would be encouraged, why this would be glamorized, why the TV show Netflix 13 Reasons Why is glamorized, why abortion is glamorized. If you look at it through that lens, then it starts to make more sense, the narrative that like all of this is adding to one thing, the early ending and the termination of a life. That's what this is all leading towards, which is population control. Because if this woman lived and she found a husband and she procreated with 1 or 2 or 3 kids, well, then guess what? In 30, 40, in 100 years, those kids would end up being 17 people, 20 people. So by taking out one person now, you prevent 100 people existing in the future. Jennifer Floyd, I'm not going to put that on the screen, your comment, because it is describing a very heinous crime. But I am on Google right now reading about this. I mean, look, this stream is going to get demonetized anyway, but I don't want to put this on the screen. But if you Google whatever she typed, if you Google some of those words, it's not a one-time thing, guys. There is some sick, demonic forces at work in this world, and we all know that. But this is, I don't even have words. I'm speechless. I don't have words. I don't have words. I really hope in that case that hell exists. And I hope that that person is on a one-way ticket there. I think bringing a Filipino. Yeah, that is true. I mean, look, I don't even have a wife or partner or woman or female right now in my life. I got nothing right now. So I'm just talking theoretically years from now. I'm not talking like anytime soon. The earliest I'd have a kid at this point is probably 2024, 2025, if you think about it. And regardless, I'm going to have to be in the U.S. for the 2024 election season to fight for Trump. I'm going to have to be here. And I'll have to be in the Philippines while she's having the baby so I can make sure she has a good pregnancy. But in the future, I think because Thailand in a lot of ways is a lot safer than the Philippines, from what I've heard. It's a safer country to live in. So maybe if I meet a woman that wants to leave the Philippines and wants to go to Thailand, remember, a lot of women in Southeast Asia, they do love going to Thailand. It's like the vacation spot for everybody. So maybe I just move to the islands in the Philippines. I go to like Boracay or Cebu. I don't know. I'm just talking in my dream situation. But also in my dream scenario, I would have already been in the Philippines 2 years ago. So, we're not really in control of the way our life goes. If I was totally in control of my life, I would not have kidney failure right now. Because I am the most in shape person I've seen at any clinic I've been to. I really am. I am the most in shape person at any clinic I've been to. Nobody that I've seen in dialysis looks anything like me. Not a single person. I was doing whatever I could to keep my body nice and tight, and it didn't matter. Hey, Renzo, you too, man. I mean, look, you lost, you said 60, 70 pounds in the past year. That's fucking amazing. That literally extended your life. That you losing 70 pounds in the past year would be like me getting a new kidney. It's like almost the same thing in terms of how much good that does for your health. So proud of you. Yeah, I'm going to the gym later today. I got to do shoulders today. Today's going to be a shoulder workout and a trap workout. I'm going to try to run, 1 or 2 miles today. Angelo, again, I mean, look, I as I've said, I would still have sex with a woman casually tomorrow, because I'm not like some hardcore conservative. I'm not waiting until marriage. I'm actually very pro casual sex. I think sex is very healthy. I think people need to have sex. And this is where I divert from a lot of conservatives. But, let's see. Health benefits. Such a crazy stream. We go from Parkland shooting to talking about sex. But these are some of the benefits of sex. Lower your blood pressure, which I need because I have high blood pressure. Better immune system, which I need because my kidneys don't function properly without the toxin filter that I have. I'm immunocompromised now, so I do need a better immune system. Better heart health, possibly including lower risk for heart disease. I need a strong heart because my kidneys are not functioning, so I need a better heart. Improve self-esteem. My self-esteem, guys, while it's still pretty high, has definitely taken a knock because of my body. I have not had sex with a woman since I've had these tubes in my body. I'm being honest with you guys. I got tubes hanging out everywhere from my body. So my self-esteem could use a little bit of a boost. Decrease depression and anxiety. I'm not depressed, but I do have some anxiety about my condition. Would love to have decreased anxiety. Increase libido. Let's go. That's not a bad thing. Immediate natural pain relief. I've been in so much pain this year that I'd love to have some natural pain relief. And better sleep. Sometimes I can't sleep the full 8 hours. I have to wake up. So all of these things sound great for me. So I am actually very pro casual sex. I'm very pro that. But ethically and responsibly, meaning do not result in pregnancy. Do not result in pregnancy. Avoid resulting in pregnancy so that you can avoid an abortion. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. So I'm not a conservative. Wait till marriage, find the one. It'd be great if I could, but I can't right now. But I'm also not going to withhold sex for myself just because I'm on the Philippines looking for my partner. If I could have sex today, I would. It wouldn't be an issue. The problem is it's not been a focus for me right now. Chasing and going after it's not been a focus for me right now because of all the issues I'm dealing with. My time is zapped. My energy is a little zapped. And I haven't focused on getting my body back to where I need it to be. So, that's my focus right now. I'm just being honest with you guys. My channel would look a lot differently right now if I did not have kidney failure. You would see me with women on my channel like I was doing last year. You saw Reina Del Sur on my channel. You saw the Benel girl on my channel. You've seen a few other girls on my channel that I was, doing stuff with. I don't tell you who it is. A lot of girls on my channel I don't do anything with. But, they've been on my channel last year. You guys can go find those videos. But this year it's been very light with female co-hosts because sex has not been on my mind. It has been health has been my number one focus since June. And even before June, before I was diagnosed, you guys got to understand that I was dealing with health issues since March, end of March, all the way until June. I didn't know what the fuck was going on in my body, why my libido was gone, why my sex drive was gone. I had no idea. But it was my kidney failure. Well, there you go, cultural politics. He is not wrong. He is not wrong. All right, guys, I'm going to call this a stream. We are almost on the 2-hour mark, which is way longer than I thought I'd go today. I got to go hit the gym. I got to go work out. A few closing thoughts for you guys. If you want to support my channel, you could buy a shirt at joebidenhatesyou.com. That is one of the best ways to support my channel, is to go buy a t-shirt, joebidenhatesyou.com. We got a lot of great shirts available for you guys. Threat to Democracy, God Bless Trump, the classic Joe Biden Hates You, Orange Man Good, Trump Good, Biden Bad. That's my favorite one. You can buy any of these shirts. Use promo code Trump, 15% off, or Trump 2024. Both work on my channel right now through the end of October as of now. Also, join my channel here. This is the best way to support my channel. You become a paying member. You keep me, put a few bucks in my pocket every month. And then the best way, I'd say the other best way, is to share my channel, tell a friend about my channel. And when you are here, super chats and super stickers, those also help as well. But again, YouTube does take 70%. Some people have been sending money through Cash App recently. So if you're one of those, thank you so much. Cash App 100% goes to my pocket. So that's great if you send me a Cash App. I'm just going to leave the money in the Cash App till it's like a nice amount, then I'll pull it out. But right now I'm just letting it stay there. But there's a lot of ways to, support my channel. And that's the bottom line. The more money I make, sadly, the more I can do this. It just really does go hand in hand. If I made $0, then I can't afford to go out, buy new cameras, buy new equipment, pay for all the gas money to get to the different places. But because I do make a little bit of money now, I can put it towards things like gas money and some of the editing software and platforms that I use. But if I made more, I could do more. I can give more. We'd have higher quality. That's the reality. If I was making $10,000 a month, I would have a much nicer apartment where I'd have a little mini studio set up with ring lights and, all the nice lighting above me and have a green screen. But that's the future. That's what I'm building towards. So I hope to get back there in the future at some point. So, right now this is all just hacking a show together for you guys, hacking a makeshift show together. And, it's definitely, I enjoy it. And I hope that I'm changing some minds or just changing who the Trump supporter is. Because they're not all white supremacists like the media has you believe. Adam, no man bun. You were looking feminine. You know what, guys? I'm going to shave this off. I'm going to grow this until the midterms, at least. And then at that point, maybe I'll take it off at that point. But we'll do it live. I'll probably shave my head live for you guys. We'll do a head shave video for you guys. So you'll see that soon. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I appreciate all of you. See you guys tomorrow. I know most of you said you don't want me to go live every day, but I'll tell you why real quick. Why I wanted to do that is because there's two things I need to do for myself right now. If I can make it to the gym every day, and if I can make it here on YouTube every day, then I know I'm beating this disease. Here, 80% of people said no. 1.5 thousand votes. So it's pretty significant. 1.5 thousand votes, 1,200 people said no, 300 said yes. I'm probably not going to go 7 nights a week. I'm probably going to do 5 nights a week, or just when I feel like it. That's probably more realistically, just when I feel like it. But I'm doing this because I need to know that I'm mentally competent still, energy-wise, physically able, and it just makes me feel good about myself. So that's why I go live. I'm going to keep doing it. All right, guys, I appreciate all of you. See you guys tomorrow. God bless Trump.